I think she had about 3, 4 children. And I'm not sure. But now that I'm older and all the information that I have, I want to believe she had autism. And she got pregnant. And people will be telling each other that you don't know that if you impregnate another woman, you can get money out of it. You can actually get it. And people will be telling, we would hear that in the school, and nobody did anything. Nothing to help. When I'm talking about nobody, I'm saying that the churches and churches, and nobody would just come out behind. Do you see her? She's pregnant again. Or another child, who's taking care of those children? I don't know. Nobody would care. May God help us. And Jesus answers. Listen. Jesus answers. What does Jesus say?
Verse 3.
Yes.
Jesus answered, neither is this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day.
Thank you very much. I want to listen. Jesus answered and said, not this man or his parents, but this was done for the glory of God. And then I would ask myself, the glory of God? Where? How? You look at them in the streets, they're always begging. You see, I remember one time, it hurt me so much to see this lady. She was pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. She actually had a baby in town. And she was so filthy, she was so dirty. The child was also very dirty. But she would be wrapping the child into these dirty pieces of material. And I would wonder, why would you allow this woman to be pregnant, knowing that they're going to have a child who will suffer like this? I would ask myself, what glory is it? When I would see them trying to cross the street, and you see them, there's a young person in the house. He doesn't have both legs and both arms. But no, he has his arms, he doesn't have both legs. I think I'm not sure if he was amputated or he was born like that, but they come up to here. And he was trying to cross the street. And everybody was looking at him like, how is he going to cross the street? There were buses, you can imagine, you'd be a very, very small estate. And I looked at him, and I kept asking myself, what glory? What glory am I talking about? And you look at someone. What's that name? The artist, the one who's singing, what's his name? Great friend. Have you ever seen how people are on social media? They can be so proud, they say all sorts of stuff about it. I'm not sure if it's him or his manager is, but he does. And you're like, why would you allow it? Why would you give him the slightest evidence of talent when you knew that this is what society would do to you? And Raymond is one of the few who's bold enough to step up and do what he wants to do, without being afraid, knowing he's fully held what people are going to say, but he still stands. But most of them don't. They're not at power, they don't come to our church. You don't see them in our church. You don't see them in our homes. You don't see them visiting us, you see them in the street. And that's the best that we can do. And sometimes you wonder, how do we end up with a society of people who seem like they don't mentally? Is it because of the way they feel about themselves, or is it because of the way that we do it? Is it them, or is it us? I'm taking Samuel chapter 1. There's a story that I like so much. Back then in Bible times, when a king would come to power, he would make sure that he eliminates all the people who are related to the previous king, so that there is no riot or nobody comes back and say, we are taking back our big story. So David had now come into power. Saul was the king that had been before David. Now David comes and David is looking for someone because remember David had a very good relationship with Jonathan. I think one of the few friends who were mentioned in the Bible. The Bible actually says that Jonathan and David were best friends, right? So Jonathan is late, Saul is late, David is in power. What happens when someone beat this thing? Well, let's start from verse 1.
Verse 1?
Yes.
And David said, is there any that is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?
Yes.
And there was in the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they called him unto David, the king said unto him, art thou Ziba? And he said, thou servant is he. And the king said, is there not yet any in the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto you? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan yet a son, which is lame on his feet. And the king said unto him, where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, behold, he is in the house of Maacah, the son of Amiel, in Lodebar.
They call Ziba. Ziba is there anyone from the house of Saul that Ziba, they simply said, yes, there is. Jonathan is his son. But Ziba has mentioned that he had to mention that. How many times have we forgot to see the person and focus on the disability? It's so sad. We don't even know their names. Ziba actually, well, we give him some credit here, we actually mentioned that he's a refugee. But most of us, we don't. Our main focus is on the disability. You don't know him. The guy who doesn't walk. Oh, the guy, you mean the guy who is blind? Yes, I'm talking about the guy without listening. Sometimes when we actually say out listening, we would have been very polite. Otherwise, we use those nicknames that have to remind that person that you are not part of our society, you are different. We call them Masope. You know, the one who's Sope, right? And when you say Sope, everybody knows him. But nobody takes time to know him. They got about us. We are the people living in these communities. We are the people who are doing this to people. I will not put them disadvantage. Because I know that they are different. But because of you, I will follow this. We look at them. We don't know them. We don't know their names. We know their disabilities. We call them by their disabilities. Yeah? I want to believe, even in town, someone can just call, yeah, I'm so bad, and he will turn around and he knows that is what this community has given you this name. They no longer see David. They no longer see money. They no longer see talent. They see the disability. God allows not to see the disability, but to see the person. Give a chance, give yourself a chance to get to know them. Ask them, what is you? Yeah? And when you see them next time, read them by their name. Don't put them by their disability. Don't explain to them. Don't explain to people about them using their disability. Imagine being called 4 eyes all the time. Yeah? Imagine being called big eyes all the time. Big head. Not that you don't have it. You actually have a big hand. But is it the kind of life that you want people to be putting that in your face each and every single day? Is that all who you are? Is there nothing else but your big nose? Is there anything else but your big nose that everybody has to keep talking about it? I want to believe that's how it is. Because that's all we ever do. We don't see them, we see their disabilities. Can we go to verse 6? Verse 6.
Verse 6?
Yes.
Now, when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, behold, thy servant. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father. And thou shalt eat bread in my table continually. And he bowed himself and said, What is that servant that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? And then the king goes to Ziba.
David calls Mephibosheth. I want to give you everything. You bring home. I want to give you all the land. Actually, I want you to leave for me and stay. I want you to come and stay in my house. You're going to be eating on my table. You're going to, he's got all these ideas that he wants to because of the relationship that he had with his father. But what is Mephibosheth's response? Why would you take note of a person like me? Do you know that most of them feel like it's because of him that he was treated? I wonder how he was being treated in the society that he grew up. If you read the story of Mephibosheth, when war was breaking, the maid or the helper heard that the soldiers of David were coming. She took the child and began to run. In haste, the child fell and broke his leg. That's how he became disabled. Not that anyone did anything. Not that it was. And you look at the situation and you wonder, what would have been done better? Would you rather the servant had not taken the child into safety for him to be okay? Would you rather that would have happened? No. There was no other way that this would have happened if God had happened. So we are looking at a situation where even after there was nothing that could have been done to change the situation. And I'm talking about during childbirth, some difficulties may come. And the nurses are trying to save both the mother and the child. And what do? They use the vacuum to pull the baby out. And what does that do? It destroys the spinal cord. And when that child is born, maybe they have cerebral palsy. What would the nurses do? They were trying to save the child. They were trying to save the child. But when we see them, when we look at them, what do? We judge them to the extent that the mother would rather, I'll leave the child at home and go to church by myself. Because when I came to church, people look at me, they're looking at me. They're throwing this weird. Sometimes I don't even know what it means. Are they saying, I shouldn't be part of this community? What are they even saying? I'm in many support groups, especially today. That's all they ever talk about. I'm one of the few mothers who actually have the courage to bring their children. Most of them have either stopped coming to church completely or they come and they leave the children. Why? It's because of the deception that we are getting when we have children. The looks, the stares, the whisper. It's even better for children or for people with physical disability. Because you can easily identify, you look at them, you see, do I think he's got cerebral palsy? I think he's got spinal injury. You can just look at them and see. But when you have those with hidden disabilities, I'm talking of autism, ADHD. When you look at the child, everything about the child is okay. So you can't help but wonder, why isn't he sitting down? Yeah? And because everybody keeps doing that, you people are blessed. I want to believe in an English-speaking environment, many people are learning. So it becomes better. You can imagine the situation in the ghettos. Yeah? The deacons will take a child and they will give them a strong beating. And when you try to explain the situation, they will say, because the mother's going to. And what happens is, the mother will stop. And for some reason, nobody knows. Actually, they will stay at home so that the services are peaceful and calm. If my kids were here, you would not be looking. You'd be following them around, trying to see what is it. You try to find amazing. You do that. Yeah? So at the end of the day, the elders, the deacons, they'll rather have the kids outside of the church than inside. And it's unfortunate, these kids with disabilities, they don't They don't go out of it. They are always going to be a part of their lives. So what? They stay home forever? They're just saying. I hope I'm not I remember one time I met a blind student there at his class. Very awesome. And he had graduated from City University. And he was now related to business. But for some reason, he was in the queue for too long. So when we finally, there was a church and there was somewhere in the outskirts, they were complaining that the pastor was always in college, calling the conference. He gave us this pastor that we have, but he's hard here. Every time he's out of the country, if he's not out of the country, he's going back to universities for exam. We hardly see him. We need a pastor who's available. So the conference decides, let's take this recently graduated pastor, let's meet the district. And you know what? When people heard that there was a new pastor coming, they were very excited. And someone knew that the pastor that is coming is actually blind. So what does he do? He goes to the church members and says, you are busy complaining about the pastor that goes to college. You are getting a blind one. Let's see how that works out for you. And everyone just wanted to panic him. The blind pastor. How is he even going to stand? And you can imagine the odds against him to try and prove himself that he was capable of anyone, any other pastor. Blind would not do. And you want to think, who would make it hard for him? Looking at them, the very people who make it difficult for that pastor to come to greet you, to say hi, how are you? And sometimes you avoid them. Yeah? I see there's my brother here. How are you, my brother? Yes, I'm talking to you. Yes, you're welcome. So you can understand what I'm talking about. Thank you. So they see the pastor and they try to avoid him because they know he can't see. They don't want to get into conversation. But I tell you, by the time he was transferred from that district, everyone was crying, please bring our pastor. Everyone, the only pastor who came to my house. I can ask you here, how many actually continued pastors visitation from the pastor? Your district pastor. He made sure. And I had a friend of mine also who was blind. His name was very intelligent guy. I remember every time I had seen him 10 years before when I saw him this time. And when I see him, I'm like, brother, wisdom. And he's like, Sister Prudence. I'm like, oh, how did you know me? He says, I never thought. And I remember thinking, wow, you must have superpower. How are you able to pick up all those pieces in the place that you are? I remember another story that I heard of a young man. He had autism. And he had been going to this Adventist church for 4 years. And for those 4 years, he was having Holy Communion without washing his feet. No one watching his feet. And we'll be busy telling each other, don't you know, if your skin is into contact, especially when you're if you get into contact with someone who's got autism, you may have a child. So don't. And you know what he did for 4 years. I personally didn't take care of it. I was how to do it. And another reason why he kept coming to the church was because he believed in the one who loved you before him.
Amen.
In the one who saw you even when the church did not see him. So the church didn't really know. The elders didn't know. The deacons didn't know that they had a member who was eating their Holy Communion without foot washing. Because maybe if they knew, they would have asked. But there was nothing. And this is in the church, Isaiah 42. This is verse 16. We are almost done. I want This is
Verse 16. They are leave the blind in the way that they know not.
yes.
In the path that they do not know. I will guide them. I will change the darkness before them into light. In rough places into the ground. These are the things I will do, and I will not forsake it.
That's a beautiful message. Who said, even if the church does, even if they forget, even if they don't follow when that's struggling mother, right? When that's struggling elder. I'm always talking about what's this? I'm forgetting the word in English, but it's called staggering. Yeah? We are the elder of staggering. We come here, the Lord make a nonsense. And when the moment you start looking at him, those findings becomes good morning. Good morning. It becomes so bad that when the nominator sits down, they say, we don't have to do that. Let's not give you any. Actually, maybe if you put them in the ticket where they are crying and nobody will. All they have to do is just sweep and make sure the church is clean, collect offering, they don't have to talk to anyone because you don't have to do it. But the Bible will say, I will make straight their paths. I will make sure that wherever they go, even the darkness that they are staying, the darkness that is in their head, the darkness of not being noticed, the darkness of being sidelined, the darkness of not being called by your name, I will remove them, and I will give them light, and I will make them walk in straighter paths.
Amen.
That they will see that they are not alone, and I will never forsake them.
Amen.
In conclusion, I go back to the glory. Remember our first verse, John 9, verse 1, verse 3. It says, for this was done for the glory of God. I saw the glory. I remember one time I came home and I told my husband, I saw this man I got to buy vegetables. I get there was this man, he was blind and he was selling carrots. So I go to him and I'm like, I want carrots. They were going for $1. I gave him $5. He's busy talking, okay, he feels that money, he feels his $5, he puts it in his team, he starts looking for change. And he's doing all this by feeling. And it comes 1, 2, 3. I was looking at him and I was like, wow, for the glory of
God.
That guy that I was talking about, the one who wanted to cross the street, he crossed the street. Nobody helped him. He saw the opportunity. I was actually afraid that the bus that was coming would run over because of his stature was very small. But he did cross. And when he got to the other side, he got what he wanted and he came back. Yeah? For the glory of God. And that woman I was talking about, the one who has a baby in the street. I remember one time my child was crying at home. So, Hatfield is got these very large stands, and sometimes houses will be so far apart that you won't even be able to know who's staying at the house next door. So I didn't even know who was staying next door. And their baby was facing the other side. So she heard my daughter crying. I asked my sister to come over and help. My other child is really young, and my sister had blocked my daughter out of the house. So when she heard my daughter crying, she picked up the drawer and she saw the child crying and was like, no, can I have them? I'll give her when the mother comes. So when I got home, I'm looking for her. No, she's at the next door. What is she doing there? And as she saw me crying, and she says, just give me the child and her. So I literally called her. And then I started explaining. She thought that my sister was our house help and she was abusing her by locking me out. And I'm like, I know it might have looked that way, but from the way she explained this situation. Then I explained the condition my child has. My child has autism. So if she doesn't understand some things, I explained, she's like, no, I do not even know this. Do you know that my mother was diagnosed with dementia at 32? And I was 2 months old. 32 for those who know that was 32. And she started roaming around the street. And I was too much. And she would not let anyone take me from her. So those bottles that you see, my mother used to bath me in those bottles. And I looked at it. I'm like, no. Oh, she's this woman, so confident. She built her own house. Well, it was just, wow, God, really? I was like, yes. I actually went to a boarding school in time. And she would come in her dirty clothes looking for me through the windows. And people start laughing at her. Her mother is there. She's the magnet child. And you can imagine how it would make her feel. She grew up, she got married. She asked her husband, no, I want us to stay with her. And I'm like, so where's your mother? No, she's inside. She's in the house. And I looked at her, she looked about 45, 50 years. We are talking about 45, 50 years later. And I'm like, so they live. The children, they survive. They actually have lives of their own. I could not ever say, for the glory
Of God.
no man could have done. No man could have given my brother wisdom the ability to recognize places like this. Yeah, I want to believe this is my imagination. When he's on a bus on the way to Noah, when he gets to bed, he knows the food. He knows the rustlings, and he'll tell you where he's living. For the glory of
God.
So when you see these people, I know as Christians, the concept, when we look at them, it's easy. But I want us to move from it. Because that's not really what they're looking for from us. No, we are past that stage. They are looking for empowerment. They are looking for recognition. They are looking for appreciation. They are looking for inclusion from us. For the glory of God. And the people that are around, even when you see parents struggling but still coming to church. For the glory of
God.
Because the normal human being should just talk about it. From all the looks, from all the whispers, they should just stop. But they don't. Because it's all for the glory of
God.
And we have seen the glory. My daughter is 9 years old. She doesn't have speech, but she says like, wow. She can't speak, you can't speak. But when she can take the limbo, open and really get it. When I say sing, I'm not saying happy, I'm not saying melodies, I'm saying actual words. She sings, but she can't speak. When I look at her, I'm proud. When I look at her, I only see God's hand in this. And when we got to a point, my husband and I, where we are okay with her not singing, not saying anything, it's okay that the peace that comes with accepting. But she sings, and we show her off. Yeah? We go to church and like, it's okay if she cries. Her favorite song is in my meeting. Our favorite. She loves that song. Right? And we're so proud of it. And I've met people who look at us and like, how are you able to accept that this is the situation that's in? And I tell them for all what's done, for the glory
of God.
If you come here, we are going to get into dealing with this issue. Yes? This morning, we were just talking about the challenges that we face. But when we come in that afternoon, I want us to discuss a conversation. I talk, you answer, you ask, I answer, you go. I want us to be able to appreciate what we can do as a community. 1, 2, some of the other challenges that are there that you judge because we don't know. Right? And it's an opportunity for us to talk about these things, to educate ourselves, even as a church, as individuals, as family members, as community members on these issues. Right? They got this. I hope you all were able to take a thing or two from our discussions. Thank you.